Welcome back everyone to Term 3. I trust you had a calm break, and those who are in Year 12, you were able to complete quite a bit of work over the holidays. It's a good time obviously. Term 3, as we start, the weather starts to change, we feel a little bit fresher and there's lots of things that we can talk about. When I got to the college, what I noticed, Emil, was that we had learning diversity basically off-site in the houses at the back of Sandra Street. And I really wanted a space that students could go to that was a welcoming space, and it was about supporting our students. So what we set about doing fairly quickly was looking at currently what was called the Dungeon, for those who remember. That was in the Placidus Centre. It was a fairly uninviting space. It didn't look very attractive. And I felt it was a space that could be utilised and used a lot better. So we set about really looking at what do we want in there. And what I wanted was for basically our services for students to be the hub at the centre of the school. And that is really what we've started to do firstly with the Sharrah Learning Centre. So it was about moving our services in there, and that was our learning diversity as well as our gifted services for students. And then also having our counsellors there and our careers practitioners. So it's a space that all students will be comfortable to go in and to see people in. So it was really about, we've been talking about strive for the highest and offering the best for our students. And my thing was, that's exactly what we need to do in our programs, but also in our facilities and what we offer our students in our spaces. So the Sharrah Learning Centre became that, and I think it's a great space. Hopefully all students have seen it. I know not all parents will have seen it, but it was just a space that was supposed to make a statement about who we are as a college. So in semester 2, we'll certainly continue work on our library project. I did my first rounds at Marsden College. Let's just say it was a long time ago when I was still at university. And so the library hasn't changed since then, since I came here 30 plus years ago. So for me, it was important that we created a space that was new, dynamic, and really, again, that added to who we are as a college. So the library is clearly going to be one thing that we're going to work on. You'll start to see facades going up around the outside, and you'll start to see a very different feel to our Placidus building. I used to call it the Pizza Hut building because of the roof, and I am so pleased that that Pizza Hut looks gone, and now we'll have the new facades going up. So it's really about fixing that space, the whole of the Placidus building, and then once we've done that, we'll move to the chapel. So we're aiming really during Term 3 for the chapel works to commence. So that'll be moving that classroom out of the chapel and actually creating a larger space for students. The reality is we're going to have to fit more than one house in at a time in the chapel, and that won't happen at the moment. So there'll be some internal renovations, but what I'm looking forward to is what we're doing around the windows. So we'll actually have Champagne's face looking in, and it'll be, I think, again, a fairly exciting space. And I think it'll tell a story without actually using words. People will walk in there and get a feel and really see a story of who we are as a college. So I'm quite excited about the chapel, and we'll also have a proper memorial garden and a seating space outside of the chapel. So that'll be during all of Term 3 and into Term 4. We were hoping to commence the quad, but the reality is both those projects have been delayed. There's been lots of reasons for that. Hopefully you'll see we've actually made a decision to replace the roof. We've made a decision to fix other areas of the college, so other areas of those spaces. So it's meant the quad will be delayed. The flyover, we are hoping to start the flyover in Term 4, but the reality is if we start the flyover, it's actually going to close off that section of the quad. So we really can't do that while we've got the library and the chapel out of action. So there's certainly, I think, two dynamic spaces that'll make a really big difference to how that whole area looks when you're standing in the quad, when you're driving up the driveway, or when you're coming from Sandra Street. There'll be two areas. The other thing that we're hoping to start, and we've been in negotiation with the North East Link for quite a while, is really the works at Sandra Street. It's really important we start that ASAP. Unfortunately, it's been a long negotiation, but I feel that we're getting there. So we'll start to see some changes at the back of Sandra Street, Emile, as well, with the houses being knocked down. The whole commencement of what I've been talking about and praying for the last 3 years is the commencement of the change at the back of Sandra Street, where we'll look at a drop-off zone. And that'll be the whole start, really, the whole change to the way that we approach the site as we begin to put some gates up. Because at the moment, the reality is we can't lock the site down, and that's not good. We need to be able to lock our site down for safety reasons, for child safe reasons, and that's not possible, but we'll be commencing that this year. So I think for me, Emile, what's really important is that we continue to change what's going on in the classroom. So you will have seen, and hopefully students and parents will have seen, Compass has been a big change for the college. You've seen your first semester reports come out, hopefully they were good, but really a different approach to how even we report. So all those things are really important, but I think, Emile, what you're asking for is the physical aspects of the college. We are looking at different spaces, creating some spaces that are, I think, more accessible for students. So in terms of the next few years, we've been working with architects on the function centre. That's a pretty big project, so it's going to take a while, and obviously it needs quite a lot of funds. But that's actually a double-storey building, so we're actually looking at going up and creating about another 14, 15 classes on top of the function centre, and replacing that whole section, the old performing arts area, actually creating a larger space. We can't start that until we've actually fixed the road that will go at the back of Marist House. So that's going to be a big project. So where we're sitting now in Marist House, the whole back section here, that's where the road is going to go through. So the road will no longer go through the middle of the school. Once that happens, it actually frees up some space and allows us to work on a number of other areas. You will have seen the lights for the Bray and for Gartner, and we're hoping lines. We've delayed the lines lights a little bit, just again, we were hoping to get some more funds for that. But for us, what will be important is really being able to celebrate some of our Friday night games, activities, a carnival, that kind of atmosphere. Once we've got the lights, we can do that. So they'll be on the Gartner Fields and on the Bray Oval. We are still looking at the seating along the Bray Oval, but again, we can't start that until really we've finished the library and then the quad. Otherwise, there'll be nowhere for students to go. So we have lots and lots of ideas. The problem is we've got to make sure we leave space for students to actually, be able to be in during recess and lunch. Even under the hall, we've currently got a lot of, I think it's 4 tanks of water. The reality is we probably don't even use one of those tanks. So that's another area that will create space in the school. So lots of ideas, but again, students have been involved in this. The library changed because of student ideas last year, and we'll continue to liaise with our leaders and students. Emile and Anton, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I know we've had to do a few reruns today, but this was something that was raised in our parents and friends meeting by Maria. So I just want to say, Maria, Anton and Emile, they organised this and they've made sure it happens. So thank you, and I hope you learn just a little bit more about Marsden College as you hear from me and other leaders in the coming months. Thank you.